Okay, let's start with something positive. Um, there's a few inevitabilities in life. Number one, and the biggest, is death. We're all gonna die one day, sooner or later, whether it's today, tomorrow, 40 years from now, 70 years from now, we will all die. So, this battle that we have against the eventual, we're gonna lose it. Death is going to win over you and over me. What does that mean? What happens between right now and your death? That's what matters. Now, statistically, everybody can calculate the probability of, or let's say, the life expectancy and where you are right now, and what is the statistical probability of how much do you have left. Now, obviously, you can influence that to a degree, but we all die. Another thing that's inevitable is pain during our lives. Now, knowing that pain is something that we cannot avoid, sometimes it is self inflicted, sometimes it is the result of something that's completely out of our control, and we have zero contribution to that happening to us. And there are different kinds of pain. Broadly speaking, you have physical pain, and then you've got more of the emotional pain. And since we all know we're going to experience it sooner or later, probably the best option is to know it is coming and be prepared for it, right? When it comes to emotional pain, that is something that every human being has experienced through eternity. Well, eternity, through the period of time that people have existed on this planet. Not a single person has escaped this life without having endured emotional pain to a degree. Now, how is that useful to us? Because we know we're going to endure it anyways at some point in our lives. Is if we were humble and wise enough, we could learn from the mistakes of others. But very few of us are that wise. I mean, the smart people, when they make a mistake, they will not repeat it. Stupid people repeat the same mistake over and over again. But that means that the wise people are an extremely small minority of the population, and even them very likely have made mistakes and have not listened and learned enough from other people making same mistakes. But that's probably the best strategy if you want to avoid profound levels of emotional pain, is to try to learn from as young age as possible, to ask questions of people that are smarter and wiser than you and more experienced, and learn from reading of what things have happened through history to people, how have they dealt with it. So when, let's say, from a variety of 100 different ways how to have emotional pain, when you have an understanding what that means to a degree, if and when that happens to you, hopefully it won't, but I guarantee you at some point it will. Can't avoid that. So then you would be at least to a degree prepared of what does that mean, how will it affect your life, and how can you most successfully deal with said emotional pain. Um, and obviously, if you're blessed with, let's say, parents that are highly aware, that's great. That's going to help you a lot. If not, then that's incumbent upon you to increase that awareness through your own actions. At the same time, since it's extremely likely that you will go through emotional pain that you have not been able to avoid, once that happens and you're in that situation, when you are in the bottom of the pit and you wonder like, okay, this is bad. One of the more difficult things under those circumstances is to let it sink in, accept it, and say like, okay, I can't help this. It might take a while to get out of it, but at the same time, when you accept it, that means you also show gratitude for that pain, because that's an opportunity for you to become something bigger, something better, hopefully, than you were before. It is an opportunity to grow, because pain in and of itself is one of the most efficient tools for growth. And it is, you could say, it is a fire that burns out the leftovers. The more you go through life, the more difficult situations or hurdles you come across in life, the more the useless stuff just burns away. And you realize that it doesn't mean anything. There's very few things in life that actually have meaning. And the more pain you go through, the more you focus on the core tenets of what makes life worth living. And you ignore the rest, because it doesn't matter in the end. Only people who have got a very, let's say, soft and meaningless life, they still kind of cling on to these completely unimportant elements of life. Any superficial stuff or anything that doesn't really matter in the end of the day. Now the other part is, and this is a lot easier, is physical pain. We will all go through physical pain, one way or the other, whether it's an accident, it's an illness, whatever of that sort. Now we still have a great amount of that physical pain that is something that will just happen one day. But we can also choose to prepare ourselves for the eventual physical pain. And that either comes through accidents, through sickness, or through aging. Our bodies become more fragile, and eventually we will die. But being prepared for that pain is, you can say, I will choose to the best of my abilities where, when, and how, and to what degree that pain I will inflict upon myself first. And I get to choose it. Now, what do I mean by that? If you want to be as healthy as possible, you eat healthy, right? You sleep 8 hours a night, and you exercise. Of course, stress management meant that also, and social life plays a role. But inflicting pain upon yourself is probably a better choice than being a lazy bum and waiting it to happen to you. Let's say you're ignorant of inflicting pain upon yourself, in the sense of like, okay, you might be hungry, but you're not going to eat. Because, for example, you're doing intermittent fasting. So there's a sensation of, oh, I'm a bit hungry, but you say, no, it is, love is just a feeling, hunger is just a feeling. If you don't react to them, it's not going to kill you. So resisting those kind of animalistic urges, that's also a sign of mental strength. But inflicting pain upon yourself is, if you go, let's say you're sprinting, you're running, of course you get exhausted and you're running out of breath and you get lactic acid all over your body. You start lifting weights. Sure, there's physical pain involved. Pain might be a strong word, but fatigue, it's uncomfortable, especially in the beginning. And that's the very reason why you should absolutely do it. When there's discomfort, but you know cognitively that it will build you, it serves a greater purpose. It's a means to an end. That is something you should absolutely do. It is the same thing as when you get your paycheck, if you are in the payroll purgatory, by the way. When you get your paycheck, the point is not like, no, I've got X amount of money and I get to spend it the way I please, whether it's hedonistic or whether it's something of necessity. You should always look at it as like, I will look long term, and out of my paycheck, a part of it I will save and invest. It's the same thing with food. Don't eat more than you need, because then you get fat, and being fat is not healthy, and it will cause you problems in the future. Plus, you're not going to look good, which means that other people are not going to be attracted to you. They're going to have less respect for you. So inflicting pain upon yourself is a good thing, because when that comes as an investment into your own health, long term, your own health will be in a better state. And when you are healthier as a result of the pain that you inflicted upon yourself when you had the chance and the opportunity, then the pains that other people who have not done that work, who've not chosen the way, the time, and the degree, and the form of pain that they will inflict upon themselves. So accepting that you have to endure pain in life, when it's well thought out, it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, kick a concrete wall and be like, oh, that's painful, though that must be smart. No, it's not. Like, let's not be retarded here. But inflicting pain upon yourself through physical exercise, for example, in whatever shape or form that is, as long as it serves a higher goal, that's something you should embrace. Anybody who might be a fitness coach is saying, look, pain is weakness leaving the body. Maybe it's a little overstated, or is it? The most enjoyment you get, I mean, the dopamine rush that you get simply through physical exercise when you do it hard enough, that in and of itself is probably the second best thing you can do with your clothes on. Maybe even the best thing, actually. Um, and that's one of the reasons why throughout my life I've always been enjoying, although sometimes it takes power of will to force yourself to go to the gym and lift heavy, or go to the dojo and do martial arts, and occasionally get my butt kicked, and I'm sweating and I'm like, oh my god, now I'm tapping to a choke or whatever. It is what it is. But if I voluntarily choose to go to the dojo, to the gym, and I feel that fatigue, and I am in pain occasionally, but as long as that's my choice when it happens and how it happens, it's a lot better than being out of shape, and then in the winter something is slippery, you slip, fall on your hip, and you break yourself. And then you're through pain, but then the recovery period is longer because you don't have muscle mass, you've not been stretching, you're not flexible. All of it becomes more difficult. So embrace the pain. When you get in a situation where it's emotional pain, let's say you get fired, there's financial pain, certainly. It's also mentally is pretty hard, especially if it comes, out of nowhere. Let's say somebody that you care about, family member, partner, friend, betrays you. Is it gonna hurt? Of course it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt like hell in the worst case. But at least then it's a lesson to be learned. It's like, well, why did you trust that person? Why did you not see the signs? Is it theirs problem, or is it your problem? Or what can you learn from that? Maybe you're not going to extend the same amount of courtesy and trust to other people in the future without kind of vetting through the potential red flags. Obviously, there are pains that never go away. Let's say you have cancer and it's terminal. Yes, that pain will not go away. That just means that death now has a grip on you and it will finish you. Um, but then the question is, what is your belief system? When you know it's a terminal cancer, okay, you know you're going to die. It's just a question of time. What do you have waiting for you in the thereafter? Is it an abyss? Is it scary? Have you made peace with yourself? Where are you going once you're dead? Figure that one out too. Then you have more peace. You're not stressed about, oh my God, I'm going to, get sick and die. We all will get sick and die sooner or later. So just be prepared for that. And also, pain is probably one of the best teachers there are. When things are all going well, you're comfortable, it's very easy to keep continuing with the bad habits and the wrong attitudes because nobody's really kind of pushing you. You have a piece of coal, when that's put under pressure, it becomes a diamond. But the coal in and of itself has got all the makings of a diamond, but it requires an outside force, which is pressure, to make it into a diamond. You cannot be a diamond by being lazy, not going through anything difficult, and not learning. So if you think of yourself like, oh, I deserve this and that and the other, you don't. But when you've been through enough, let's say, pressure, in whatever sense of the word that might be, then you start to realize, now I've learned things and I am potentially a diamond in the making. But if you start voicing that out loud, like, oh, now I'm so smart, I'm a diamond. No, you're not. No. If you have to say that you're confident, you probably are not. If you have to say you're strong, you probably are not. People who are confident, who are strong, who are capable, they don't have to voice that out loud. How many times have you heard somebody like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos say, I'm rich? They don't have to say that because everybody knows they are wealthy. How many times do you see a Miss Universe say, I'm beautiful? Come on, you see where I'm going with this. So the point of this rant is just simply whenever you can avoid pain by preparing for it physically or emotionally. And emotional, that means just get educated, read up on things. What could happen to a human being throughout their lives, and whenever that happens to you, at least you have an understanding of what it could be. A physical pain, yeah, get prepared, be prepared for it, and look at pain as a teacher, and that teacher has a lesson to tell you. So don't hate pain. Don't be like, oh, I didn't deserve this. This is unjust. No. Be glad that this unfortunate event has come upon you. Be grateful for it. Heck, you're alive. You could be dead. You could have died long ago. Maybe you might have never been born. Show a bit of gratitude. Don't take things for granted. Once that pain, which is temporary in the most cases, once that's gone, show a bit of appreciation. Like, I woke up in the morning. I'm relatively good health. My brain works. I have a roof on top of my head. I have food. I can see, I can hear, I can talk, I can smell. Show a bit of gratitude. One day it's going to be gone. One day you will die. So appreciate whatever you have and what you have left in your life. And through that appreciation, you know that every day is an opportunity to build yourself and others. So, and the more you do that, the more you get accustomed to the sense of, like, when pain arrives, you say, okay, pain, I call it my guest. I will accept that that guest comes into my house, into my life. And as long as it stays, I will accept it. And one day it will go away. Either through the pain being having taught me their lesson, and now they say, okay, now you get it, now I'm leaving. Or the pain says, I'm here to stay, and you will walk with me, and we will live together. And that's it. If that's the case, okay, make peace with it. Anyways, so much for today's rant. Have a good one, guys.